My name is Joel Block. I'm America's Business Growth Guru, and I want to share some critical information with you. Welcome to our site. We're going to talk today about the concept of a revenue octopus. A revenue octopus is critical. In any kind of strategic planning initiative, I want you to think carefully about this. I want you to take some notes on this, and I want you to try hard to implement a revenue octopus in your business. The concept of a revenue octopus, which is something that I install into all of the advisory clients that I work with, means that you have a variety of revenue streams, multiple sources of revenue, derivative of the core business. Now what this means is that you try to create different ways of monetizing or repurposing the assets that you have so that you can make as much money as you can make every single time you create something. Let me give you a couple examples. First, let me tell you what it does not mean. It doesn't mean that you invest in stocks and real estate and then you buy a stamp collection and then you go buy a shoe store. It doesn't mean that you get into 8 different businesses. What it means is that you find one activity that you feel good about, an activity that you want to do, and then you think about all the different ways that you can make money from the same business with new customers, with the same customers, with different customers, with other people's customers, and find lots of different ways to monetize the activities that you're involved with. For example, let's say you own a shoe store. And this is a true example. When my kids were little, we used to go to the shoe store and I used to sit and watch. And this guy was very smart. First thing was the guy sold shoes. That's his core business. That's the staple of his company. Second of all, the guy set up a little shoe repair department. People were there to buy shoes. People knew that they could come there and they could repair their old shoes. Then he set up an accessory department. Long as people were there, they might as well buy socks, shoelaces, shoe polish, all the other things that people need when they're buying shoes or having their shoes repaired. He also had a little gumball machine. This actually was a very large gumball machine. And this guy told me one time that his entire family vacation was paid for with the quarters that families would put into the gumball machine when they were standing there waiting for their shoes either to be organized, arrive, fixed, or whatever. So this guy didn't exactly have a revenue octopus in place, but he had lots of different revenue streams that were derivative of his core business. And that's how I want you to think. I want you to think about big companies. Big companies do the same thing. My favorite example is Starbucks. Think about what it must have been like 30 years ago when they first launched Starbucks. A couple of people have a couple of recipes. And they say, hey, listen, why don't we give it a try? We'll open a little coffee shop. They go, they get a little piece of land, they get a little building, they take their recipes, and they start serving coffee. Next thing you know, they take a hard look at their business and they say, you know, we've got a bunch of customers that are coming in. How can we make more money from these customers? That's the question you have to ask. How can we make more money on the same customers? So what do they come up with? They say, well, as long as we are here, we might as well sell the same people accessories. Why don't we sell them coffee makers, coffee mugs, etc. And they start thinking further. And they start thinking, well, maybe we can sell them other kinds of products that are not necessarily related to coffee. And they go a step further through the years. And they say, maybe what we could do is we could sell Wi-Fi services, or a company approaches them and says, why don't you do Wi-Fi? We'll pay you a commission every time somebody buys a service. Or they're selling credit cards. And a credit card company says, listen, you've got millions and millions of customers. We'll pay you a commission every time somebody buys a credit card from us. How does that sound? That sounds perfect. Well, that's great. So now they've really tapped out their existing customers. How do they get to some other customers? Well, maybe Costco approached them. And Costco says, listen, we have a lot of people that come in our store. A lot of them like your beans. They like Starbucks. But maybe they don't want to go into your store for whatever reason. Is anybody selling your beans in 5-pound bags? Costco says no. Starbucks says no. So Costco says, can we be the 5-pound bag representatives? Next thing you know, they have another channel. So now they're selling bulk beans to a whole new market. It didn't dilute the old market. People still like to come in Costco, and they're just selling more stuff to more people. That's the concept of a revenue octopus. I want you to think about that all the time, because the more successful you are in building a revenue octopus, the more money you're going to make out of your business. This is an imperative concept for you to catch on to. If you get it, it's going to work out and you're going to make a lot of dough. If you don't get it and you don't implement a revenue octopus, then you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. And you're going to be scratching your head wondering why you're not making as much money as you could be. But that's when you need to come to me, or you need to come to somebody who understands the concept of a revenue octopus and say, let's do some strategic planning. Now, nobody ever really wants to do strategic planning, but this falls in the concept of strategic planning. But you're willing to do some strategic planning so that you can get to the other side of the river. The other side of the river is what I think of as your goal. If the goal is to make as much money as you can make from the business that you're in, and that's whether you're in an old-fashioned business like selling shoes, a more modern social business like coffee, if you're in a manufacturing company, if you run an internet marketing business, no matter what kind of business it is, you have to have a revenue octopus. There hasn't ever been a circumstance where I can't help a company come up with a revenue octopus. Sometimes we come up with 12, 15, 17 different revenue streams. Last point, you don't need to launch all the revenue streams at once. The goal is to get the core business up and running. Once the core business is up and running, then and only then do you begin to launch the rest of your revenue streams. Make sure that one thing's rolling great, and then you're going to launch into the rest. As another part of the gift for watching this video, we're going to give you a lot more stuff. We're going to give you the first module of the pillar called Revenue Octopus of our home study course. You're just going to love it. It's brilliant. It was put together by a real sharp professor who used the materials that I had originally created and built a home study course. I guarantee it's going to walk you through this entire process so you can create your own Revenue Octopus. We're also going to give you the audio that accompanies the module when I originally did the program for a live audience of people. And you'll be delighted. You'll enjoy that very much. And finally, one of my favorites is we're going to give you the Successful Entrepreneur's Resource Guide. These are my top 9 all-time favorite resources that are going to help you as an entrepreneur operate your business at the pace of 20 corporate people. How is it that entrepreneurs get so much done? It's because we have to. We don't have janitors emptying our trash cans. We don't have secretaries typing our letters. We do everything ourselves. We have to optimize our opportunities. We have to work at the optimum speed and pace. These are my favorite resources, and they're going to help you a lot. Until we meet next time, my name is Joel Block, America's Business Growth Guru, and now go out and stake your claim.